What I'm doing right now is kind of out of my comfort zone. Usually, when you see a video on Facebook of me, it's just me singing a song and playing the guitar. I don't do no talking. I'm not really big on talking, but the last video that I posted, it really blew my mind of the love and support that I got from it. I had so many comments, and it got nearly 300 views in like a 24-hour period. It was either 270, 300, close, right around in there. And it really amazed me and it blessed me that that video had gotten watched that much. But a few people asked me, you need to do another one, you do another one. So I thought about it and I decided to do one. I've recorded this song before and I put it on YouTube a long time ago. But there's a story to this song and why I fell in love with it. Um, I'm one of those type of people. I don't sing songs just because I like it or just because it sounds good or there's good lyrics to it. I gotta have a an emotional bond with it. That's just me, but I believe when you singing gospel music, you're not only singing to people, you're singing to the Lord, and that's how I have to do it. Uh, the song is called "I Am Redeemed," and it's from Big Daddy Weave. They're one of my favorite groups, and the first time I heard this song, it was new on the radio, and the DJ come across and said, "Here's a new song from Big Daddy Weave. I Am Redeemed." So I'm on my way to work, and he didn't even get halfway through the first verse. I just started bawling my eyes out. It was like this man wrote this song for me. Every lyric, every word he was saying, it was like it was for me and me only. So for about 15 minutes, I cried and cried and cried. I pulled in the parking lot at work and I had to sit there for a minute and gain my composure before I walked in. I don't care if people see me cry. If they know what's going on, if we're at church and spirits move and I'm crying, I don't care, if people see me cry. But every time I listened to that song at work, every break I had, I listened to that song. And I would cry. And I was in the break room. I thought, well, I better go sit out in my truck and listen to this because some people will see a guy like me, big burly, tattooed up, and he's crying and sitting off in the corner just crying his eyes out. They're just thinking, oh God, saying he's fixing to kill everybody. But that day at work, I had listened to that song so many times, and I played it over and over in my head while I was at work. By the time I left that place that day, I knew the arrangements, the chords. I knew every lyric to that song. And I was going to sing that song at church the next Sunday. I was off that next weekend. I thought, yeah, I'm going to, my new song I'm going to be singing next Sunday. So I go home and I get home and I get in my room. I didn't even get halfway through the first verse and I just started sobbing again, crying my eyes out. Well, this went on for about a week. I finally sometimes got to the second verse. But then by the time I got to the second verse, I was so choked up I just couldn't do it. And I work with some young people at church and even older people that's never sung at church. And they come to me and they say, "Hey, can you help me out? Will you play the song for me, or can you help me?" And I always tell people, bury your fear and your nerves and feed off your emotions, because that is what gives you the connection to the song. I had so much emotions over this song. It was just, I can't explain it. It's just unreal. I never had a song do this to me before. And this went on for about 2 weeks. So finally I said, well, maybe it's not the Lord's will for me to do this song. Maybe it was meant for me to learn it and then play it for somebody else. And I let it be for a couple of weeks. And the song would come on the radio and I'd turn it off. It wasn't that I was, irritated with it because I couldn't sing or anything. It's just when I wanted to sing it, when I heard it, I wanted to sing it, and I knew it wasn't God's time. We can't do things on our time. We have to do it on God's time. When it's the Lord's will, not our will. When we do it in our will, it don't work. Trust me. I know. So one day, I was mowing my yard. I had my earbuds in, and the song come on the radio, and I almost turned it off, but I didn't. I listened to it and I started singing it. And I sang the whole song. I got tearied, but I sang it without the big golf ball in the middle of my throat. I thought maybe now's the time. Maybe now's the time the Lord wants me to do this song. So I get done mowing my yard. I take a shower. I turn my amp on and my mics and everything. And then while all that's warming up, I go to my kitchen and I get me a bottle of water. And I come back to my music room, and no joke, as soon as I reached and grabbed a hold of the neck of Lucille. And if you don't know who Lucille is the red Telecaster that you see me play all the time at church. I've had a guitar for nearly 30 years. She's my first wife. If you don't believe me, just ask Shelly. But as I grabbed a hold of Lucille, my cell phone rang. And I looked at the caller ID, and the number was Roger Wild. Now, mind you, Roger's my dad or stepdad. I don't know. I've heard so many different things, but he is the man that raised me. And me and him we're not Opie and Andy. He sees and believes one way, and I believe another way. And we should be able to agree to disagree on the way we believe on things. But with him, it's his way or it's no way. So I hadn't spoke to Roger in about 2.5 years, and he calls me out of the blue. I thought, wow, So I answered the phone. I laid my guitar back down and I answered the phone, and he said that he had seen some of my videos that I had on YouTube when I had a YouTube channel at the time. And he asked me, he said, was you doing it in church? Let me back up for a minute. Somebody had told him that I had videos on YouTube, and he watched some of the YouTube videos. That's how he found out. It ain't like I'm got 30,000 followers. But he said, I see you're singing in church again. Because used to, I never played in church. I've played in a few bars, and I never did the church thing. Best way I could say it, the church thing. That's what I call it back in the day. But when he was telling me that he heard some of the videos, and I'm thinking, maybe he's had a change of heart. Because this is a man that told me one time, no matter what I did, no matter what I said, no matter how hard I prayed, I would never make it to heaven. You just got to know the man. So I asked him, I said, what do you think about it? What do you think about my videos? He said, well, I only watched 2 of them. He said, so you're singing at church? I said, yeah. I said, every day I'm not working, I'm singing at church. Because I got to work 2 Sundays a month. I said, when I'm not working, I'm at church. Or when the Kung flu hits, you're not allowed to go to church. That's the only other time. Another story for a different video. But he said, does your pastor know about your past? I said, well, he's got an idea. I said, I don't talk about my past. I don't really get involved in that. Yeah, I might witness to somebody, they tell me, hey, I've got a problem with drugs or alcohol, or I got a problem with this or problem with that. I'm like, let me tell you something. I was the same way once, and then I get to tell them my testimony on things. But my past is my past. I don't focus on that. I focus on my future and doing my best to keep my Lord Jesus Christ happy with me and my wife. But I said my pastor knows a little bit, but not everything. Well, then he commenced telling me that I shouldn't be on a platform singing and playing guitar in a church house. That it was an abomination. And I'm like, really? How's it an abomination? He said my place was in the pew. He said, I see you play that red Telecaster that you had since you were a kid. You played it in bars. You've played secular music, southern rock, and heavy metal with it. and now you have it in a church house. He said, Sandy, you used to be a drug addict. He said, you used to be an alcoholic. He said, you used to go to jail. He said, you used to have a mouth so bad, cussing, that you couldn't even be around kids because your mouth was so dirty and filthy. And then I used to have a heart full of anger and violence and hatred and bitterness. And by this time, I could feel that old man coming up in me again. The man I was years ago. The man that I never did like, or that I don't like now. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, when you get done talking, I'm just going to give you what for. Because I'm one of those types. If you're talking, I'm going to give you your say so. And I'm not going to interrupt you. But when I start talking, you're not going to interrupt me. So the more he talked and more he brought up my past and the things I used to do, the more I got mad because I wasn't supposed to be on a platform playing guitar and singing for the Lord. He said, what do you think about that? And I thought, boy, here's my chance. I'm just going to light into him with both barrels. And before I could even think, and before I could even say my first word, I said, thank you. And as soon as I said thank you, I thought in my head, thank you? You big dummy, why did you say thank you? He repeated what I was thinking. He said, why are you thanking me? All that anger that I had in my heart, at that very minute, I was so mad at him. It went away because I started thinking about why I said thank you. It was like God made me say thank you. And I told him, I said, I want to thank you for sharing my testimony with me. The key word that he was using was, I used to. I used to be a big time drunk. I used to smoke pot, snort coke, pot pills. I used to go to jail quite a bit. I used to have a heart full of anger. You see, the thing is, we can go up to a complete stranger and we can tell them everything that God has done for us till we're blue in the face. And that complete stranger may say, well, that's great. That's awesome. God bless you. But when you take a man that has seen you do all this stuff, seen the things that you've done, and the word that he said out of his own mouth was, you used to. To me, that's the ultimate testimony. When people can see what God has done for you and you don't even have to tell them. So I ended the conversation with them when I said, appreciate it. And I said, I'll pray for you. I said, pray for me. And I said, God bless you. And that was the last time I talked to him for 3 years until Granny died. But I thank God that I'm a used to be. And I realized that day the reason why I had such a hard time learning that song is because I really believe God wanted me to just really see and know that I am redeemed. I made mistakes. I still make mistakes. Day in and day out. But I thank God that I'm redeemed. Seems like all I could see was a struggle, haunted by the ghosts that lived in my past, bound up the shackles of all my failures, wondering how long is this gonna last. But when I hear you whisper, child, lift up your hands, I remember, oh God, you're not done with me yet. 'Cause I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll shake off these heavy chains, wipe away every stain. No, I'm not who I used to be. Thank God I'm redeemed. And all my life I have been called unworthy, made by the voice of my shames and regrets. lift up your hands. I remember, oh God, you're not done with me yet. 'Cause I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll shake off these heavy chains, wipe away every stain. No, I'm not who I used to be, because I don't have to be the old man inside of me, 'cause his days are long dead and gone. Because I've got a new name, a new life. I'm not the same, in a hope that will carry me home. 'Cause I am redeemed. You set me free. Thank God I'm redeemed. Hope y'all have a blessed day. I love you.